Hi, Taurus, or anyone watching for Taurus. So, this is your 2022 wrap up. I'll put more details about it in the description box, but we're basically looking at the themes of 2022, how it affected each area of your life, and what the lesson was there for you, so that you can kind of decide, did you learn the lesson? Because if not, it is very likely you'll be seeing those themes again in 2023, which I will be doing that forecast next week. So, make sure to tune in for that. So, Taurus, your theme for the year 2022 was death in the reverse. And the reason for this was the hermit in the reverse. Now, as I'm looking at your cards, I'm seeing that there was a lot of kind of stagnant energy in your love life, in your finances. It feels like this year you may have felt like you were in limbo or you were always trying to fix situations that it probably would have been easier to just get them out of your life, right? I'm seeing that there's a real hesitancy around like ending things completely. So you might be the kind of person that even though you hate your job, you go down to one shift every other week, right? And then you go off and you start a new job, but you still have this old employer in the background calling you, like, oh, could you come in on Tuesdays, right? Or perhaps you've had situations within your love life where they were long and dragged out and you knew that it needed to be done, but you kept kind of shifting and being like, maybe I can give more, maybe if I just overlook this or forgive that. You're creating, or you were creating throughout the year, and even before that, these situations in your life that were kind of long and kind of dragged out. There were a lot of things that you really needed to just put the kibosh on, I feel like. And so this year, you probably experienced situations that were very frustrating in the sense that you started to evaluate how much of your time you had put into people or jobs or whatever, and it felt like nothing was really changing, right? People weren't moving forward to match the energy that you were putting into whatever this was, like in every area of your life. I'm kind of seeing a reoccurring pattern here where it feels like you've allowed people to come back into your space even when they've shown you that they're going to keep doing the same things to you over and over, right? So this theme within 2022, I feel like was a big lesson for you because it put you in a rather uncomfortable space of having to evaluate your relationships and your situations, but also evaluate why are you holding on to things that have shown you that they're not working out in your favor, right? Or that perhaps you're not being valued. And what I think is really good about this is that you were able to kind of start giving yourself advice, right? Maybe you had like an old paradigm as far as like watching a parent, this looks like it would be a mom, put up with a partner that she just kept giving and giving, right? And the partner kept taking. And so maybe that was a subconscious pattern that you created within your own life because that's something you witnessed as a child. But it feels like this year you got an opportunity to really start getting in touch with your own value and your worth and what that means to you, right? Like it seems to me you had a lot of situations that were happening over and over. And because you weren't tuned into how valuable of a person you are, you weren't understanding how unfair the situation was, right? Maybe you were just thinking like, oh, that's just the way things are. Whereas it seems like sometime in this year, maybe towards the summer, you started really taking a look at situations and being like, no, I deserve better than this. So I feel like that's very good because your relationship with yourself actually improved, but it allowed you to start putting boundaries up that perhaps in the past you weren't comfortable with or you didn't even realize needed to be set for people, right? As far as your love life, you got 5 of Wands reversed and 7 of Wands. So it feels like you were dealing with partners this year that were really kind of testing you, right? Maybe undermining your self-confidence or always starting like petty problems over nothing. And it feels like you really were supposed to assert yourself this year. So if you did that, congratulations. It seems like you would have learned the lesson that spirit was setting out for you, because there's an energy here of perhaps not wanting to leave a specific person alone, not wanting to be alone. And so you had to make the decision of like, you know what, I'd rather be by myself than keep putting up with someone who treats me this way. And as a result of that, I see that you'll be moving into a new relationship probably in 2023, or at the very least, you're going to have a lot more harmony within your love life if you've decided to keep this person, but you're just showing up different, right? As far as your Five of Wands reverse, Seven of Wands, this is you really stepping into your power and realizing that you are the prize, right? It's not your job to have to like compete for a lover's attention or affection or approval. So that was your lesson. And I feel like if you were able to do that, it's going to really open up doors for you as far as your relationships moving forward, because you're going to find yourself in a very different dynamic than something that you've previously experienced. As far as your work for 2022, you got Knight of Pentacles reverse, Queen of Wands. So I feel like work may not have been something that you were extremely focused on this year. It feels like you're not doing what you want to be doing for a living. And so this may be something that takes priority in 2023. But there was a period here where you had to figure out what you want or what really drives you, okay? So it looks like you could have ended some things, or you could feel as though things aren't coming into fruition in 2022 as far as your work life the way that you wanted them to. And I feel like that's so that again you would assert that boundary of like, hey, either you're going to pay me what I deserve or I'm out of here, right? There's an energy where it feels like in every area of your life, you really had to start advocating for yourself this year. So if you did that, very good. If you did not, with some of the cards I'm seeing here, you can expect to see that in the future situations where you will have to start setting those boundaries, even if it means that you're cutting people out of your life or you come off a little bit cold or cruel, right? Saying no is self-care, and I cannot stress that enough, because every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, whether you realize it or not, right? So when you're saying yes to working that extra shift, you're saying no to having leisure time with your friends. Or if you're saying yes to lending money to someone you know that isn't going to pay you back, you're saying no to having financial stability within your savings account, right? Now, as far as when I'm looking into your mental, I think this year was really good for you because you're Two of Pentacles reversed and then you've got the Knight of Pentacles. So some of you struggle with like a very active mind, right? Maybe you have a trouble focusing on one specific thing until it's completed. And I feel like this year you've been able to start learning a lot about cutting out distractions, right? What's a distraction in my life so that I can focus and keep my eyes on the prize. And that's actually really going to help you because of this Hermit in the reverse energy, where the universe is trying very hard to get you into a space where you can move on to what you really want and have the kind of life that you want. But it is going to take focus, right? And consistent effort. So perhaps you have a tendency to like let things get so big because you're not addressing them that eventually you just walk away. Maybe you have a tendency like in your past to like ghost a job or a partner because you didn't stand up and be like, hey, this is what I need. This is what I don't like. If something doesn't change, I'm out of here. It's just easier to like do the slow fade, right? Or like abruptly block somebody. So I like this energy for you because I feel like you started stepping more into a version of yourself that's consistent, but it's also being backed by you understanding like why it's important for you to show up and what's important to show up for, right? Not everybody deserves your time or your attention. And I feel like for you, oftentimes with what I'm seeing here, you're kind of so distracted that if something is bothering you or something needs your attention in that moment, like this partner who kind of plays with your self-esteem, right? Or this job that doesn't seem like it's paying you what it should be or giving you what you deserve, you will put that on the back burner and distract yourself with something else. And so nothing gets fixed here, but you keep feeling more and more resistance to whatever this is, and probably resentment, right? And then eventually you just kind of disappear, or you like very quickly, well, it's not quickly to you because you've been thinking about it, but because other people don't know what's going on, it looks quick. You leave, right? Or you're like, I can't do this anymore. So this year, I feel like the lesson was really about having to be consistent, having to learn about who you are and what you deserve and what is worth your consistent effort, right? As well as some of these old patterns that it seems like have not been serving you in the way that you communicate, or in the way that you're setting boundaries with people who seem like they're just kind of taking advantage of you. Okay. So, this was your 2022 wrap up. This is what you were supposed to be working on this year. I hope you were able to get the most out of these lessons so that you don't have to repeat them. But not only that, it looks like you've done pretty good in some of these important areas of your life, as far as like your mental and your emotional with yourself. So I feel like the rest of this will kind of work itself out as you implement the tools that you've acquired over the year of 2022. All right, guys, I will speak to you again soon. If this was able to provide you with any clarity, please like the video and make sure to subscribe for your 2023 forecast that will be out next week. Bye.